So after this great project, the 10-year salmon project, I had a beautiful book published by Alaska Northwest Books. It was gorgeous. And the Burke Museum in Seattle really wanted to have an exhibit of it. So I agreed before I realized how much an exhibit costs. Once I realized that it would cost thousands of dollars for me to print and frame these photographs, I kind of did another panic dance. And one day I was meeting with my friend Phil Borges, who is a photographer here in Seattle, and we were complaining. I was complaining about how every corporation I went to would not underwrite this exhibit for one reason only. There was only one reason they couldn't underwrite my exhibit, and that was because I wasn't a 501c3. And Phil looked at me and said that he'd had this very same experience. And so at that point, we realized that if we were having difficulty finding funding, then other photographers would be having difficulty too. And that was the day that Blue Earth Alliance, the idea for Blue Earth Alliance, was formed. It took about 3 months for Malcolm Edwards, another of the co-founders, to get the legal work together. But since 1996, Blue Earth has helped support over 100 photographers. And those photographers have raised over $1 million for their documentary projects. I mean, the topics of our projects range from stories like global warming to stories as local as the Duwamish River. They range from cultural stories like the Khanty of Siberia to the gangs in Eastern Washington to homeless kids in Times Square. I mean, our photographers have been famous photographers like Florian Schultz or Franz Lanting, Art Wolf, Daniel Beltra, and they've also been photographers that were just beginning, or maybe you haven't heard of. It's just a wide variety of incredible work. The best thing is to watch these projects as they evolve, and then to see the impact that these projects have. There was one, Shubhankar Banerjee, who spent 2 years of his life up in the Arctic working to show that the diversity of life in Anwar in the summer and in the winter. And his book was published by Mountaineers Books just about the time that drilling in Anwar was being debated in the Senate. Senator Barbara Boxer held his book up during that debate and said, if you believe that this is a frozen wasteland, then you have got to see this book. And as you may know, the measure to drill in Anwar was rebuffed at that time. It did not pass. There have been some very community oriented stories that have made a difference in raising the awareness of a certain environmental issue or a cultural issue. I mean, the number of great projects is just astounding to me. And all of these projects need funding. And that's where Blue Earth steps in. Blue Earth gives the photographers the tools to raise money. You can go to our site, you can donate on our site, and be assured that your project or that your donations will go directly to the photographers. It's a great organization. I don't think there are any others out there that I know of anyway, and we have been able to survive through thick and thin, offering workshops and educational opportunities. We have a fantastic pamphlet, a booklet really, on how to do documentary projects, from the structure of the photo story that I wrote to funding and finding to funding and finding outlets for the final project. I mean, it's just it's a very great little handbook, and that's at www.blueearth.org.